YTBC, what's the deal? So I have another prospect, another 6'5", 235-pound prospect from Sweden, Otto Wallin, 14-0 with 10 knockouts, 25 years old. Before I go into his, young career, Sauerland Promotions were saying that there's going to be a Swedish super fight between Otto Wallin and Adrian Gernot if Wallin won his fight against Samir Kurturgic, in which he did. That fight is on YouTube. That was his last fight. I watched the fight. Kurturgic doing a lot of grappling, a lot of holding. He slowed the fight down. He got a point deducted in the 6th round. Went the full 6 rounds. Otto Wallin was using his jab. It was just a lot of holding and mauling in that fight, but he used his jab good. He wasn't working inside like I want him to. Like I've said in my previous videos, these prospects, especially these guys that are 6'6", 6'5", they don't work inside, a la Riddick Bowe, another big man who worked inside. These guys are just susceptible to being held, man, and they don't do anything on the inside. But with that said, he's a southpaw. He uses his jab. He uses his legs. He can fight from range. His left hand is decent. He throws good body shots. He puts some guys down with some body shots. So the Samir Kurturgic fight is on YouTube. Then another fight I've seen on YouTube. I've only seen 1, 2, 3 of his fights on YouTube, professional fights, and then I've seen 2 amateur fights. Some guys that I noticed off his resume that are journeyman level, but it's guys that I noticed because these guys are all fighting the same prospects. Tomas Mazaric. Mazaric lost to Adrian Granat, Tom Schwartz, Dillian White, Gary Cornish, Marco Huck, Hughie Fury. So just comparing those guys when they were prospects, then you compare them to what Wallin was able to do. But that fight is not on YouTube. Another guy that he fought that has fought pretty much a lot of contenders and prospects, Avika Perkovic. He's another one. He lost to Mark Demore. He pushed Demore to 12 rounds. Demore is getting ready to fight Hay, and Demore is ranked by the WBA. He fought Kubrat Pulev, Hughie Fury, Erkin Tepper, Oscar Rivas, Adnan Redzovic. So that's another guy that Wallin was able to beat that has fought other contenders and prospects. Then another fight that's on YouTube, the Moxon Pedyura fight. Pedyura has been in there with Kubrat Pulev. Actually went the full 8 rounds of that fight with him. Arnold Jarek, and he fought Alexander Ustinov. In that fight, though, Wallin looked really good in that fight. He was defensively responsible. He was doubling up on a jab. He was doing other things that it might not stand out to the naked eye, but to me, just, watching the fight game and watching guys, how they react to fighters. In the ring, when he was walking towards Pedyura's right hand, he would jab, he would double jab, he would double up the jab, he would stay very active to keep Pedyura, to keep his right hand away. Then when he would circle away from Pedyura's right hand, then that's when he was landing his left hand and throwing combinations. So he was circling away from the power hand, using combinations and jabbing. But then when he would circle towards the right hand, he would double up the jab. So we know what he's doing in there, man. He knows how to circle. He knows how to use his footwork. He was doing a lot of good things in that, fight that I seen. I think that's the best I've seen him. Now, you may argue the Kurturgic fight because there were holding and a lot of other things going on that Kurturgic was trying to apply as far as, savvy veteran tactics. But another fight that I seen, Oleksiy Makazin, believe that's how you pronounce his name. But in that fight, Mazakin tried to come out. He tried to come out the fences. He kind of looks like Chris Areola, but he tried to come out the fences, throwing a lot of punches at Wallin, and Wallin retreated. But he retreated doing what? Not just using a high guard and let you get off all your punches and then try to come out of his shell. No, he retreated by using his legs, stepping back, not lumbering back or running back, but just gliding back, and using his jab to keep his range. Although he was getting pushed backwards, he was still using his jab to keep his range. Those type of things stick out to me as a fight fan when I'm watching these guys and I'm breaking them down. How do guys react when they're getting pushed backwards? So he got pushed backwards in the first round, the first 30 seconds. Then he took control and got the fight right in the center of the ring. And then as the fight went on, he started to walk him down, Mazek him down, and landed a body shot to put him down. So that was a good fight. Then another name that popped out on his resume was Loban Jandizi. I remember that name because he fought Derek Chisora and Dillian White and Robert Helenius. So he was able to take care of him too. So he's been able to take care of some European level journeymen that a lot of other prospects have beaten too. So I'll give him that. He can beat those guys. But this fight, this supposed fight with Adrian Granat is going to be a really good Swedish fight. It's going to be their two top heavyweights. They're both, I believe Granat's 24, I believe. And I believe Wallin's 25. So they're both young. They're both undefeated. They're both highly rated prospects. I would probably favor Granat. He just seems to have a better jab, more power. And I think his style, I think he would be able to walk Wallin down. I think he'd be able to get past his jab by using his jab. But it's a fight, it's up in the air. It's a pretty much a pick 'em fight between these two. But I would favor Adrian Granat though. Being that these guys are both from Sweden, you would think that these guys have fought each other in the amateurs sometime or another, at least some type of junior competition. And I'm sure they have. I haven't looked that far into it, but I'm sure these guys have fought. And the more I do research, I'm sure I will find at least an article or two about these guys fighting. But I tried to look something up before I came online. I couldn't find anything, but they're going to fight, so hopefully Sauerland Promotions can get this fight done, because I like to see it, because like I say, there can only be one, especially coming out of Sweden, there can only be one. So it's either going to be Adrian Granat or Otto Wallin. It's going to be a good fight. If they choose not to fight each other yet and let it build, that's fine. But maybe we'll have an Anthony Joshua, Dillian White on our hands. I like when these prospects go at each other, man, and not try to save the fight as if they know that they're going to be both undefeated in 3 or 4 years. Let's get it going now. I want to see that fight. But Otto Wallin is a good prospect. He does some things sort of like Arthur Spilka. Maybe it's because they're both southpaw, but he kind of gives up his height a little bit. But he uses his jab. He knows how to fight from range. He can, I like how he pivots. He does a lot of, you could tell he's schooled, man. He's schooled, and he has the basics down. I know that sounds kind of, mediocre for me to say that the guy has the basics down. But a lot of these big guys, they don't have the basics down, man. You can tell that he has the basics down. Pivot, the footwork, using his legs, gliding across the ring, not running and jumping. So I like what I see. And like I said, with all these prospects, we're not going to know what's going to happen until they get hit on the chin. And how's he going to react when he gets super tired and he's in a fight and is late down the stretch? All those questions will be answered. But like I say, man, there's a lot there to work with, but there's also a lot there to work on. Just my opinion on Otto Wallin. Like what I see. YTBC. I'm out.